Panther Report exclusive. The Student Government Association voted last week on reallocating funds. We'll bring you the details tonight.
Reopened after 17 days, the federal government shutdown came to a close last week. We'll speak with a professor about the effects felt in Georgia.
All pink, all in. GSTV News continues Breast Cancer Awareness Month coverage with an inspirational story of survival from one of Georgia State's own. Those stories and more tonight on Panther Report.
Good evening, I'm Jayla Bell.
And I'm Yasmina Alston.
Tonight's top story is the Student Government Association's Mandatory Fee Committee making the recommendation to reassign funds from a $35 library fee elsewhere. Athletics will receive $14 from the $35 fee. Also announced after Thursday's general meeting was that $3 of the former library fee would go towards sustainability efforts. Our own Angie Rosette was at Thursday's meeting and has a recap of what took place.
With the expiration of the mandatory $35 library fee this year, the SGA has proposed a reallocation of funds towards an environment sustainability fund.
Becoming more aware of our environment and doing things that contribute to the betterment of our environment, and not just using energy, wasting plastic and things like that. And what we would do if this fee was to be allocated and creating a new green fee, would have a committee of students who kind of decide annually on what that fee would go towards and creating new initiative, finding out what is going on campus and how can we be more efficient in creating new policies around green space and things like that.
The proposed green fee could possibly include benefits such as enhancing eco-friendly food options on campus, change lighting in parking lots to LED, increase the number of high-efficiency toilets, and increase the number of water bottle filling stations on campus.
Reporting from the Urban Life Building for GSTV News, Angie Rosette.
GSTV News will bring you more on sustainability funding in our next episode when we hear from the faculty advisor who has worked for 5 years to get sustainability funding at Georgia State.
Most Georgia State students are aware that a downtown location contributes to an increase of campus-related crime. But what are some of the most commonly reported incidents? Over 20 reports of theft were recorded in the month of October. Criminal trespassing reports were a close second, with over 10 reports this month. There's also been an alarming rise in the number of vehicle entries, particularly in the T-deck. Remember, if you or anyone nearby is in danger, call GSU Police at the number at the bottom of the screen.
A bill approved by Congress was signed by President Obama late last Thursday, putting an end to the 17-day-long government shutdown. Reports from ABC News estimated an economic loss of $24 billion. Negotiations included a temporary measure that will fund the government through January 15th and suspend the debt ceiling until February 7th. Peter Schmidt has more information on the story, including plans to back pay furloughed workers.
After 17 days of deliberation, Congress was able to avert a Treasury default. Although a deal had been reached on the budget, the effects of the government shutdown could still be felt by its furloughed workers, especially in Georgia. The effects were felt not only by workers, but by the businesses and agencies that employed them as well.
Some workers, individual workers, may have experienced considerable hardship if they didn't have sufficient savings to bridge the gap between when they last got their check and when they were forced to stop work.
If Congress hadn't reached a deal and the debt ceiling hadn't been raised, the economy would likely have been sent back into recession like that of 2008.
Businesses that rely on those workers to spend money, particularly in areas that have high degrees of concentration of federal workers. And while military personnel did receive their checks, there wasn't money for training, and it was unclear whether there was money for supplies or not. And so those areas in the state that rely on or have higher concentrations of military personnel and rely on the inflow of additional personnel for training and things like that could have been impacted by this shutdown.
Had a deal not been reached, the U.S. economy would have seen increased interest rates, additional home foreclosures, and a downgrade in the U.S. government's credit rating. For GSTV News, I'm Peter Schmidt.
On October 17th, the Pi Alpha chapter of Phi Beta Sigma and the Student Government Association presented a Greek dialogue on sexual and gender discrimination called No Homo. Featured was Dr. Daryl Holloman, the Vice President of Multicultural Affairs, Christian Hill of Phi Beta Sigma, and 4 other panelists. The discussion centered around homosexuality within Greek letter organizations and the American society at large. Audience members were also encouraged to participate in the dialogue.
Looking around and seeing pink ribbons will remind you that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But for 1 in every 8 American women, the effects of breast cancer are present every day. The good news is more and more women are surviving breast cancer, and this has largely contributed to the spread of awareness. What role does Georgia State play in spreading awareness? Reporter Marquise Jackson has more.
Millions of women across the country are battling breast cancer every day. This month, the month of October, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We got a chance to speak with Georgia State sorority Zeta Tau Alpha, who shared their efforts towards the cause.
I oversee all of programming, and that qualifies as sisterhood events and social events, and philanthropy does fall in that. So we have 4 different philanthropy chairmen, on-campus events, director of philanthropy, Think Pink, and service. For breast cancer awareness, we've been doing little things already leading up this year and throughout the month. We've had a couple bake sales. We did do a pink out football game. We have our philanthropy week coming up next week, and on Monday night we'll be having a bra decorating contest. Tuesday night we've partnered with Euphoria here in Atlanta. They'll be donating 10% of all the frozen yogurt sales from the whole day.
We also got a chance to speak with a breast cancer survivor, Shonda McFadden Sabari, who lives in Atlanta and is the executive director of Bold and Breastless, Inc.
We had talked and, had I made up my mind about what I wanted to do, and I said, yeah. I said, I want you to remove both of my breasts, and I'm not going to do reconstructive surgery. When I woke up from surgery and I was in recovery, my fine husband was standing over at me, and I said, am I okay? And he says, you're fine. We got the doctor got all of the cancer, and it didn't spread. That's what gives me peace at night, knowing that I wake up each day with a smile. But what makes me go to bed each night with a smile is knowing that I put a smile on somebody else's face.
Reporting for GSTV News, I'm Marquise Jackson.
Coming up on Panther Report, flu season is approaching. We'll give you the tips needed to stay healthy. And fans of the TV show Catfish will be excited to learn who's coming to campus this week.
No one enjoys getting a flu shot, but you may have to start preparing for flu season or brave that dreaded shot sooner than you think. Our own Tim Richards has the tips you need to stay healthy this flu season.
It's fall season, which also means it's flu season. So today I talked to Dr. Myra Carmen to tell us what should students do to prevent themselves from getting sick.
The reason students get sick this time of year are several things. We have a lot of changes in the weather, and sometimes they don't change their clothing appropriate for the weather is one of the things that you see. Sometimes it's not flip-flop weather. The other thing that I'm a big advocate for is hand washing. We don't wash hands enough to prevent the spread of illness or sickness. You need to wash your hands when you go to eat, before you eat, and after you eat, you need to wash your hands. So when you touch objects that other people might touch, those are reasons that you might need to wash your hands or have some type of antiseptic. And what's coming forth is that soap and water is one of the better things to remove germs, flu shots are very important for all ages, and we have 4 strands of flu in this present flu vaccine that we have, and it can prevent you from having a serious bout with the flu. And you don't have to have it just one, and then you're going to be a very avid taker of the flu vaccine. So again, it's recommended that you have it every year.
And what should you do when you do get sick?
Stay home. You know, that's really hard to do because they're so concerned about going and getting their classes, go to their classes, and but when you go to class and you cough constantly, and particularly if you have a fever, there's things that you can cough a little bit with allergies and so forth, and cough into your arm. But if you have a fever, you know, you shouldn't go, because that again is says you have an infection. So you should not go and distribute your germs to your fellow classmates.
So what we have learned today is that you should always wash your hands, eat healthy, and if you're sick, stay home. Tim Richard, Panther Report.
President Mark Becker uses his blog to talk with students, faculty, and community about the growth and expansion of Georgia State's campus in the coming years. President Becker also addresses his commitment to promoting student success, with an emphasis on advisement and increasing graduation rates.
The Distinguished Speaker Series welcomes actor, photographer, and producer Neve Schulman this Thursday, October 24th. He is best known for starring as himself in the 2010 documentary Catfish. Schulman now hosts and produces the MTV series Catfish, the TV show. He will lead a discussion about online personas, dating, and the impacts of 21st century communication. There will be a meet and greet following the discussion.
The Office of Disability Services is an organization that provides services for students and faculty with permanent disabilities. This week, they hosted a disability engagement symposium for students. Highlights included wheelchair relay and seated volleyball, hosted by Blaze Sports America. And career conversations offered students an opportunity to hear valuable information from professionals.
Georgia State's Welch School of the Arts is celebrating creativity and imagination with its month-long symposium. Reporter Tiffany Carroll has more with what's going on in the arts.
Since its creation, the Ernest G. Welch School of Art and Design has put on countless programs, events, and exhibitions focusing on art that stimulates the student body as well as the community.
We want to promote visual art in the Metro Atlanta area, and also we want to make the visual art more visible in the downtown Atlanta. And in our area, our education area, is a very big thing about creativity. So the national conference last 2 years, I think, focused on creativity. Like, for example, some issue, how to promote student creativity and how to make our environment more like in the creative idea and then creative thinkers. When you create a work of art, you're thinking about different steps. What kind of color you need to pick. And the color represents something special to you. It's a personal meaning. Dr. Anderson talked about the procedure of the artist from the abstract structure and then until the end, total different products. So I would just want to help students to understand the process. Even every step that is a creative process, because they need to go through the problem solving, meaning making, and construct their own meaning and then express themselves.
For more information on events and programs hosted by the School of Art and Design, visit arts.gsu.edu. This is Tiffany Carroll reporting for GSTV.
Sports with Neha Ali is coming up next on Panther Report.
Presenting your Georgia Power Energy Efficiency Team, helping you save money and energy around your dorm and apartment, one easy tip at a time. Phantom Load Unplugged. Phantom Load is power consumed by electronic devices while they are turned off or in standby mode.
Plug your devices into a power strip and turn the strip off at bedtime.
A 24-17 loss to Texas State was not all bad news for the Panthers, who were able to claim a few records last week. Wide receiver Albert Wilson marked his longest career run at 47 yards, and linebacker Robert Ferguson raised his career total tackles to 164, making him the Panthers' newest tackling leader. GSU faces Louisiana Monroe on the road this Friday. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. and will be available on ESPN3 and 1340 AM radio. After a 10-game losing streak, Georgia State's volleyball team clinched its first Sun Belt Conference win against Louisiana Monroe on Sunday.
This past Sunday, the Georgia State volleyball team took the court as they faced the University of Louisiana Monroe. The Panthers were competing for their first conference win of the season. The Panthers won their game 3-0, snapping a 10-game losing streak and notching their first Sun Belt Conference win of the season.
I'm feeling really optimistic about it. This is like one of those moments like where we're going to snowball and everything is just going to come together, and I think we're going to end up with so many more wins than what we're expecting.
A stellar performance by Dee Dee Bohannon, Eliza Zachary, and Christina Stinson led a balanced attack that wore down the Warhawks as the team received 41 kills compared to the Warhawks' 32.
We had a lot of confidence going into this match, and we had so much motivation going in from this past week, so I think it went really well. Everyone just had the right mindset, so I just thought that was awesome.
After a great win, the Panthers will now prep for Friday's showdown against the University of Louisiana Lafayette. They hope to avenge a heartbreaking 3-2 loss to the Raging Cajuns, which occurred this past Friday. For GSTV News, I'm Davon Kimball.
The Lady Panthers repeat last week's schedule, playing Louisiana Lafayette this Friday at the GSU Sports Arena and Louisiana Monroe on Sunday, October 27th in Monroe, Louisiana. Isaiah Dennis is a freshman guard on the Georgia State basketball team who barely reaches 6 feet tall. Dennis shocked teammates, coaches, and fans who saw his dunk at Saturday's Hoop Day dunk contest. Isaiah's dunk was ranked number 5 on SportsCenter's top 10 plays this past Sunday. Basketball fans can look forward to a pre-Halloween exhibition game on October 28th against Shorter in the GSU Sports Arena. Costumes are encouraged and kids are invited for trick-or-treating during the first half. Men's and women's basketball kick off regular season games in November. For more information on their upcoming seasons, visit GeorgiaStateSports.com. Last season, GSU golfer David White finished with the 9th lowest scoring average in the Sun Belt Conference. White was named CAA Rookie of the Year after placing second at the CAA Championship for the 2011-2012 season. This past week, David and his teammates won the Autotrader.com Collegiate Classic. David sat down with us and expressed his love for golf.
I started playing golf when I was 3 years old. My dad worked at a golf course while he was in college. So that's just how I kind of picked up the game. I would go to the putting green and just kind of mess around. And then my dad put me in a tournament when I was 5 years old, and I did well, so I just, kind of kept playing. And the most difficult aspect, I would say, is learning how to be patient, not try to just pedal to the metal all the time, just kind of, because I'm kind of an aggressive nature kind of guy, just go for it. And Coach Inman, I feel like I could learn a lot from him with him playing on the PGA Tour, and just seemed like a good fit. I liked the guys when I came for the visit. Just seemed like a pretty good school. It felt really good to play well at conference. That's really what got me the award, I think, and that just gave me motivation and just to play well the next year, keep it going. The strongest part of my game this week was definitely my scrambling and putting. It's my ball striking struggled. Didn't hit it the greatest. I was just kind of scrapping around, but I felt like I fought hard on the greens and made some really good clutch putts. I do plan to play professional golf after. I wouldn't say I model my game after a player. I mean, I have favorite players, obviously, like Tiger Woods, but if I had to say kind of my game compares someone kind of like Ricky Fowler, maybe, someone that's pretty aggressive and just kind of goes after everything, just pedal to the metal kind of guy.
This has been your GSTV Sports Update. Tune in again next week for another edition of Athlete of the Week. Visit Georgia State Sports online for this week's special report on what it means to be a Falcons fan this season. I'm Nihali.
Thank you for watching this edition of Panther Report. Please visit us online for stories not featured in tonight's broadcast.
Follow us on Twitter at Panther_Report and like us on Facebook. I'm Jay LaBelle.
And I'm Yasmina Alston. Have a good evening.